Hey guys, LJ here from LJ Films, and I'm a filmmaker. And today we'll be looking over a Konova DSLR slider. And a slider like this one is very useful for filmmakers and cameramen to get dynamic shots. And one of them being able to move left and right gives us a lot of control to give dynamic movements. The Konova slider is one of the cheapest roller bearing slider out in the market. And this slider fits a DSLR filmmaker's budget, so I was excited to try it out. Alright, let's move on and see what are the pros and cons of this slider. First, let's see what comes in the box. We have a slider itself with a bag. And most of the slider does not come with a bag specifically designed for it, and it is a great deal to have a bag specially designed for the slider. And inside the bag, we have legs for the slider. And the legs comes with those pouches where we could keep them inside. And here is the actual slider itself. Basically, all in all, this only cost me around $329 US. This slider being a roller bearing slider and costing only $329, we can really consider this as an affordable slider. Alright, to set this up, I will mount my legs onto the slider. The legs comes with a 3/8 thread where we could mount at the bottom of the slider. And this slider has tons of holes where we could mount different accessories for different uses. And here we have the 3/8 thread where we could attach our legs. Simply we can use our fingers to tighten that up. And using a screwdriver or a coin to finish this off. And I will do the same thing for the other leg. And on the slider unit, we have again the 3/8 thread where we could attach a quick release or a fluid head. And you can buy a different kinds of fluid head and that Konova offers as a kit. And this is the Weifeng 717AH fluid head where I bought as a kit. Or you can also buy different kind of ball heads, Manfrotto heads, any kind of fluid heads that accepts 3/8 thread. So I'm just gonna quickly attach this head on here. Basically, you just turn it around clockwise and it will be mounted onto the unit. Okay, after I'm done with that, I will just quickly set this up by attaching a quick release onto my 600D. I have a setup here of 600D and 11-16 Tokina lens, which is a pretty heavy lens. So let me just quickly attach this onto the head and lock this down. And I will be attaching an arm for the fluid head. After I'm done, I'm just gonna test it out how smooth it is going from left to right. As you can see, we have this red knobs. What this basically does is that once we tighten this down hard, basically this one locks down in place. So if you want to get a steady shot, you can do so. But if you want to release to get a fluid motion back again, you just have to unscrew that. Then we have a fluid motion. This Konova slider actually comes with a tool where we could actually adjust the bearings of this roller bearing. So basically we can control this to be tighter or smoother. But I never touched it, and by default it gives me a great result, so I haven't touched this. But if you're looking after to customize your own your smoothness, you have the option to do so. And after trying this out going left to right, I'm really satisfied of how it rolls. I can notice a little bit of noise, but that's not a big deal for me. And it's really great. And there are these dust paddings. Basically what it does is if whenever there's any dust that goes inside in this slider, you can basically roll this over to get rid of all of the dust. Maybe not all, probably most of it. And this basically cleans the unit so that you will have a fluid motion. The affordability and being able to have all the features within a low price. And again, for being a roller bearing slider, I'm very satisfied with the movements and being able to have legs to quickly adjust the height. And one thing I forgot to mention though is that at the At the very end of the bottom, you can still attach accessories, maybe an arm or anything. And you don't really need legs to actually place it onto the floor. It does have soft paddings to actually lay it down without having scratches. And being able to adapt and control the movements and different kind of heads, I consider this really good. And now I'll be going over with these weaknesses. First off, what I really notice about this slider is that it's actually pretty much heavy. Compared to the other slider units, I find it kind of middle range, but comparing with the higher end markets, this is quite heavy. I haven't measured it yet. You can go to the website to check out the details, but as for me, this is kind of overweight. The reason that is, you know, I'm kind of fine with this if I have a feature films or anything where I have tons of time, but if I'm shooting a documentary or an event, I really need to move faster, and carrying this around is a mess for me. So I just wish this unit would be a little bit lighter, but the coating and the design and the color is just great, and I'm satisfied with it, but the weight is kind of too heavy. And another con I found is that the screws that attaches the legs onto the unit of the slider, you will be needing a coin to tighten this up. I wish that it'll be a thumb screw, because you don't really need to bring screwdrivers or a coin anywhere, anytime. I won't be able to have screwdrivers with me all the time. You know, even it's a necessary kit for a filmmaker, I might even not bring it at all. So having this as a thumb screw to tighten this up hard, you know, it'll be a great option. But you can still tighten this up using your thumb, but the legs will still be twisted. To get this on tight, you really need a screwdriver to tighten this up. So I just wish that this will be a thumb screw instead of using a screwdriver. Being able to again save time while I'm shooting, and being able to adjust the legs and quickly remove the legs out, thumb screw will be a really big development on this unit if that will be developed. And again, as I told you before, the noise that's being created, for me it's not a big deal because I don't usually record audio on the camera itself. But if you guys are actually recording audio from the unit itself, let's say you're using a onboard camera microphone such as a Rode video mic or Sennheiser or anything, this might be a cause for you. But when doing a slow movement, you don't get any noise. But when having a fast movement like so, I don't know if you can hear that, there is a noise. Maybe for documentary shooters or anyone who is really sensitive with the sound, this may not be the option for you. Also, this is one of the biggest problem I occurred using this slider. Usually I don't always shoot indoors, I shoot outdoors a lot. I really love to shoot landscape videos using this Tokina lens. And when I go to a forest, or let's just say a outdoor shooting, wind tends to blow a lot and a lot of dust goes inside on this unit. Since the rollerblades are inside of the unit rather than being outside, it usually happens, and a lot of sliders are having the same problems, but this dust padding kind of does help. But even a tiny piece of dust, if it is actually stuck on the bearing, you will not be able to move it. It will be basically just stuck on there. So I think, you know, that's something that Konova needs to be working on, or something that they should develop. Just a little bit tiny of dust will basically ruin my shot. I keep saying this a lot because I was again surprised with the price itself for its features, but for it being $329, we couldn't expect it to have a crank and a motor to actually use this on a time-lapse. You know, if that is actually happening on this unit, it'll be way expensive than it is actually right now. So that was basically it. Those were the pros and the cons of this slider. To summarize this up, I'm really satisfied with this slider for its price, for its features, and again, it's a really nice investment for DSLR filmmakers or any filmmakers who is having a lightweight camera. Again, you cannot actually, you know, overweight this system. Well, actually you could do, but you will run some problems. You don't want to have a heavy 200 pounds camera on here expecting it to move fluidly. Pretty much I love this slider. And if you want to check out more of this slider, you can go over to their website, konovaphoto.com, and they have different lengths for your needs and different kits that you could buy together with. And that is basically it. And you can find more contents about me on Vimeo, YouTube, and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.